Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. You're listening to newstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold, and that's our media, right? So we're on various different TV stations, but we focus our, you know, business showcase right here on our new streaming network TV. So don't forget to look up our Roku station, right? New streaming TV. That's our app on Roku. You guys, you're listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am one of your hosts. I am Cece Shatz, fondly called the Doyenne of Relationship Building. And I have my good friend here, Joanne Weiland. Joanne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm the connector. I love connecting people. I love when people actually share ideas with each other and create new products, new services, new solutions, because I really feel like a lot of times we just are one step away, one link away, and all we need to do is hire an expert. And that's why I'm so excited today that we're going to be bringing Roy in, Roy Kirchner. He's going to share with us his insights on innovation and resilience and actually the power of being different. And I think that is so true because so many people think that they have to be another me too, but I really think the power is in being different. So we would like to welcome Roy today.
Hello, hello,
Welcome.
ladies.
Hi, we were so blessed. Recently, Roy invited us over to his actually manufacturing store and showing us all this 3D stuff as well as his studios. And uh, it's just so exciting to see somebody that's so cutting edge. And so we really welcome you today, Roy, and we believe that a lot of people will learn from you today. And maybe some of them will be event planners or want to hire you as their keynote speaker. There's others that will want to bring you in to help do sales training, or even some of the executive will want to, actually brainstorm with you, hire you as a consultant to have them get to the next level. So we are just so excited to have you today.
Absolutely. I'm love to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah,
Well,
it is our pleasure. I tell you, you invited us over to your office, and it is a huge manufacturing facility, and he does the ultimate 3D printing. Those of you, if you haven't heard of it, it's a 3D printing store and services, and he's really the trailblazer in sales, marketing, and additive manufacturing. And you've done so many things in your life. You're broadening out more, doing even more and more, helping individuals and helping them not only, achieve. I would think that personal touch, that you need when you're a CEO, that you need as you're moving forward, but you also are very I don't know. I want to use the word charismatic. You're like you're very a dramatic keynote speaker, but you've got that. Your personality is so warm, and you're charming, and you're all of these wonderful things. And we just found ourselves so you know uh, so at home there in your area. And the thing is you're branching into also, and we want to talk today a little bit about like the video and the AI and things like that, because you're branching more. You built this beautiful studio that's just,
Mhm.
I mean, I was awed when I was there because, I've been doing this business for a long time, and I just have this little setup, and I just kind of do it. You've got this grand studio that you've built. So tell us a little bit about your journey as to why you started to get into the 3D printing, because you've had a tremendous success with that, and you've been doing it for many many years. And then tell us once you why you did that, and then why you want to branch out into really helping people, because you do a lot of things with children. You do, you're just, I mean, we could go on with all the wonderful things that you do, but tell us a little bit about what makes you tick and why you decided to do the printing and then move forward into these other areas that you're really embracing and helping others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I own Ultimate 3D Printing Store and Services. We're here in the Tampa Bay market area, and I've actually had the business for 10 years. So this is
Mhm.
my 10-year anniversary. But I really started building the business a year before. So I'd say kind of like 11 years. I just didn't open. And really, it was back before anybody really knew what the technology was, 3D printing, additive manufacturing. So I had came across a 3D printer in Tampa. It was basically at this like makerspace fab lab. They just had it sitting in a corner. And I went in to check out the place here in Tampa Bay. And next thing you know, the printer's there and it was just starting to start printing something. And I just couldn't take my eyes off of it. To see something grow from nothing was just remarkable. And all I remember is a guy tapping me on the shoulder saying, "Hey, buddy, you got to leave. We're closing." And I'm like, "Well, it's not done printing." He's like, "It's not going to finish till the middle of the night." And I didn't want to leave. I was just stunned by watching it. So I literally went home and figured out where to buy it, which was China, and had bought one and had it shipped over, but started really studying the technology to understand how it was going to change manufacturing and forever, how it was going to change. And it was very much at the very beginning. Started the company, I would say 100,000,000% a true entrepreneur. At that point in time, it was brand new. There was no school. There's nothing even on YouTube to learn how to use it. So you're at the very cuffs at the beginning, and you're starting a business that has no foundation of like policies, procedures, manuals. You're really building something from 100% nothing, just like 3D printing. Nothing's there and you're building something up. Well, that was the same thing with building the business, so I literally started the business. And it was interesting. It was an online store, and believe it or not, when I opened the online store, it was remarkable to see that nobody bought from the United States. Like the first place I sold was Australia, believe it or not. And I'm sitting in Tampa Bay. So a lot of the business that I had for the first year was actually international business. It wasn't in the United States. There was very little business in the United States. It was mostly the world buying from me. But it worked. It worked really well. I established a great presence on a website called Reddit. Without marketing and advertising, people would go on there and say that I was a good place to buy and I was a safe place to buy. And I took care of customers before, during, and after the sale. And literally, that's how I started the business, was literally word of mouth from kind of Reddit in the world. People were buying from me. And then it started growing. The business started growing over time. The United States started buying 3D printers, and I had always seen it growing, but still, at that point in time, most people in the United States did not know what it was at all. And then basically we would show businesses how to save time and money with this, in pretty much any business. So people don't realize how much stuff a 3D printer can make. I mean, it can make items for really any business. It can make gifts to give away. So there you go. Who doesn't give away a gift as a business, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, but in manufacturing, it saves a tremendous amount of time and money. And then
Even
I
your
saw
business cards.
yeah. So, and I saw extraordinary growth when COVID hit. So before COVID, before the actual country shut down, the facility that I had was a 1,900 square foot facility, and I had 4 employees. We're getting about 7 to 10 calls a day. The country ended up shutting down, and we actually went crazy. 200 to 300 calls a day every day were coming in. And people were just at home. Businesses, pipelines were shut down. Everybody was hearing this thing that 3D printing could help you. And we ended up going from 4 employees to 38 employees. Ended
Wow.
up going from 1,900 square feet to occupying 65,000 square feet. And like I said, 200 to 300 calls a day. And this was in 2020. Well, ended up, we ended up, my chief of staff ended up filling out an application with the Tampa Bay Business Journal for one of the fastest growing companies. And we were named the sixth fastest growing company in Tampa Bay in 2021. And we had, we had growth of, I think it was over 350% in 1 year. And we stayed on the Fast 50 even in 2022. We were also awarded, they look at all the companies in Florida. It's an organization called Grow Florida, a phenomenal organization. And we got picked as one of the top 50 companies to watch in 2022 as well. So that was great. But in 2021, when I became the sixth fastest growing company, I had actually, believe it or not, and this was June of 2021, is when we got awarded the sixth fastest growing company. I had actually gotten very sick and I was in the hospital. And the same day that we got awarded the sixth fastest growing company was the same day a doctor walked into my room and said, Roy, I don't know if you're going to live or die. So I was laying in a hospital bed, and this was during COVID. So nobody come in. My wife can't come in. My friends can't come in. My family can't come in. And really, none of the nurses want to come in. They don't want to contract, COVID. And it was a time for me. So I didn't even know we became the sixth fastest growing company at that point in time. But I was working an enormous amount, growing that fast. It's, yes, congratulations, but it's a lot of things that you're overcoming, right? And you're in a business too. Again, that's 100% true entrepreneurship. Like, there's still no school for this technology. There was no policies, procedures, manuals, hiring people, training them, influx of business. There's a lot of enormous, gigantic amount of moving parts, and there's a lot of things that don't go right, right?
Right.
In business, right? And then at the same time, I'm having this flash that I may not live, right? I may pass away. And then you got to really, at that point in time, when you're laying there, you're determining, you're replaying your entire life, right? And you're really seeing, what is important, where do you want to go, what you want to do. And like I said, at that point in time, I survived, and we stayed on the Fast 50 and we kept on growing. But a lot of what I went through, in being a Fast 50, right? If people think that, in some ways they think like it's an award. It's an award. That's really what it is. Like, it doesn't change. Like, from the day you get it to the next day, nothing really changes. You're still in business, right? So it is great that you have that, but it's being a CEO of a company, that people don't realize is really a lonely place without other CEOs, right? And this is in the middle of COVID, where you're not really talking to other CEOs. So you don't have, nobody understands what you're going through. Like, they want to understand, but your wife doesn't really understand. She's not in the business, right? Your friends aren't growing this fast in a time when COVID is actually hurting their businesses. So it's very hard to talk to people, right? And then your employees and your team, they're not you. They're just not an owner. They're not a founder of a company. So I found myself working through this. It was like every single day, right? You're in a boxing ring with Mike Tyson. And the only thing that you don't want to do is just get knocked out, like literally knocked out. You may even get knocked down and you're getting back up, and you may get a lot of hits. You just don't want to get knocked out. And what I realized what I wanted to do is be able to work as a coach with an entrepreneur, right? A business owner, and be able to explain to them how I navigated through all these things, right? How I overcame all this, and how I did it, believe it or not, on my own without a support system, right? But you should have a support system, and you should have a coach, and there's a lot of moving parts. And the biggest enormous benefit to having somebody, right, is the knowledge gate. Like their knowledge, like if somebody could have walked in, I started this business in 2015 is when I opened, but in 2014, I was building it. If somebody says, well, Roy, I'd already done this business, right? And I know every single thing. I know how to create the policies, procedures, manuals. I know how to make it so that you don't make all these mistakes, and I can help you. If somebody would have walked in, like, where do I sign, right? How do I do that? Like, that's the game. That's the key to success is making less mistakes, right? And either having a coach or basically the same kind of a mentor, but there's not a lot of people that are going to give you a ton of their time and not get a value. But when I was younger, I had mentors, right? But coaching allows you to get from one area to a other area really fast by not making mistakes and having a support system and getting knowledge that somebody else has already made those mistakes, like everything that they've done. So that is the thing that I enjoy, right, the most, is really bringing that to the table for somebody, saying, like, your business is here and you want to be here, and I can actually help you get there. Like, I can come into your organization and I can do what is called a CNA, a customer needs analysis. And a customer needs analysis on a CEO is really, it comes down to their business and their life, like where they're trying to achieve in business and in life. But in business, you need to look at short-term goals, long-term goals, obstacles. I mean, it's just a deep dive into where they're at now, and then build a plan to get them to the next level, and then make sure, because one thing that's in this world, every single thing that you can automatically know is things change every single day. And I mean, they change all the time, right? So a business plan is great. It's a piece of paper, right? But a business plan is set. It's there, right? And with coaching and consulting, you're changing that business plan on the fly because the world is changing. And business is changing and everything's changing. So it's a lot of moving parts that you're changing constantly, right? And that's how you navigate, and that's how you grow. And then you have to, the number one thing to growing a business, the absolute number one thing is the culture in which you create within an organization, and then the team that you have. How do you get great talent? Right? How do you get good people? And then how do you create a vision that they want to be there every single day? Because as the founder of a business, as the CEO of a business, listen, you're not in a business because you don't love it every single day. Like, I love what I do every single day, right? But you got to have that, and you got to push that vision to everybody else in the organization, right? And then the other thing is you got to constantly push it, right? Because life takes over for everybody, especially your team, right? They're dealing with life, they're dealing with their family, so you constantly have to keep everybody on track, right? On track and motivated and a true vision. And you got to make sure that they love what they do every single day too, because then they're going to stay with you. See, that's what it comes down to, is making sure that you're not wasting a day. I almost died, so I can tell you, I don't want to waste a day. I want to love what I do every single day, but I also want to create that vision for everybody else. And I think that's the problem, is there's too many people that settle in life, right? They settle for, this is what I'm going to do. Well, and some of it comes from leadership, right? You can create a phenomenal atmosphere within an organization. You just got to want to, and you got to be a leader. So all these things is things that I can help and go through. But there is no magic pill. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes dedication. Like, if somebody says, can you flip a switch and make it happen overnight? That does not exist. Okay. It just does not exist. And I'll be the person that I will absolutely tell you that. Like, the one thing about me is I have the credentials, I have the resume, but I work with integrity. I work with moral values. I work with honor, and I work with respect. And the thing that matters most to me in this world is my name, because you only have one name. And I never want to destroy it. So it comes down to putting it together. And with coaching and consulting, you got to make sure it's the right fit, right? You got to make sure the person that, or the CEO or the founder, is a right fit for you. Like, you have that synergy together. They gotta want to connect with you as much as you want to connect with them. So you have to find that match. And sometimes that match is not there, and I have to turn it down, because my thing is, I really want to work with somebody that I enjoy working with. And I'm at that point in my life where I can do that. But I also want to work with somebody that has the energy and the stamina and the vision, right, that wants to get to the next level. And I want to help them get to that next level. And I want to show them that gap for them.
Love everything you're saying. I love everything you're saying. I tell you what, I can so kind of connect with you, because like when I first started, in the business, we were just starting into the internet was kind of new, right? And so we were starting doing the internet radio, and everybody kept saying, oh, you should go on the regular FM AM. I thought, well, hey, internet is the new thing, man. I want to stick with what's new and what's hip, what's happening. And so I did that, and then I started going into the podcasting, and it just going into the internet TV, and just kept evolving, because you've got to be able to. It's almost like you got to be able to roller skates, right? You got to keep going with the times. You got to keep moving on, moving forward. And I love your energy, Roy. I just absolutely love you. I think you're terrific, and I love that energy, because I think that if you're going to be a coach to someone, you have to have that energy, because it's a dream, right? It's a dream of the other person. They have a dream of a business. They want their CEO or whatever of their business. They got a dream. They want to be successful. And a coach has to be able to share that enthusiasm and that, being able, not only just the knowledge of how to get it done, but also capture that dream, help them get that dream in place, because you will not be successful in anything you do if you don't have the dream, right? You got to have that feeling, that dream, to be able to move forward and be successful. Well, I mean, the first part of the show went by so quickly. We're going to have to take a quick break, everyone. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about, let's talk about how AI is changing the playing field, I think, so to speak, in business.
100%.
Because, oh man, it is touching and embracing everyone here now on what we can do with the AI. And a lot of people, like internet, they are afraid of it, right? And so what we want to do is we want to show them that, yeah, maybe there's some reasoning to be a little bit afraid, but the reality is life is changing, and you got to put those roller skates on. You got to keep on skating through. And so that's what we're going to do here today. So you guys, you're listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase. We are on the newstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo Media and Going Bold Media, and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. So we want to thank you guys for listening to us on the first part of the show. We're going to be right back. We've got so much more information. So if you enjoyed the first part, that is great. Stick around for the second. If you missed it, you got to go back and listen, because Roy is on fire. I tell you what, you really truly want that kind of person in your corner, right? You want the guy that's going to, be able to break free and get rid of all of those negative feelings that you might very well have in business, and help you focus on what's true, what's real, so that you can move forward in business. So he's a wonderful coach, and we are so very fortunate to have him with us here today. So we're going to take a quick break, but before we do, I want to make sure you guys know how to get a hold of him, and you can just reach him at Roy Kirchner. It's KIRCHNER.com. Check out his website, roykirchner.com. That's ROYKIRCHNER.com. I love you guys so stick around. We'll be right back with a lot more information you don't want to miss. So we'll be right back, everyone. Well, welcome back right here to Link to Expert Business Showcase. You're listening to newsstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo Media and Going Bold Media and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. That's where we started on the radio. And look at us today. We are so pleased to be able to expand our horizons, and we have a wonderful guest that's doing that for us. But before we start again, I want to make sure you know who I am. I am Cece Shatz. I am fondly called the Doyenne of Relationship Building, and that's what we have to do in business. We have to build relationships. And I have my good friend here with me, Joanne Weiland. Joanne has the wonderful business called Link to Expert Business, and you want to make sure you guys connect her with her. She is the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of collaborative cloud community called linktoexpert.com. Then this is the name of our show here today, and it's also the sponsor of our show. So we want to make sure you guys check it out, linktoexpert.com. If you
You
need
can
it,
find them.
that's
People
where-
like Roy. You can
Pardon?
find the expert. That's why we created this. You can find people like Roy, check out all their credentials, and hire them in minutes. So
Absolutely. And Roy, I tell you what, Roy Kirchner is our guest here today. The first part of the show, we talked a lot about his background, how he started really through COVID, and how he managed to be able to be this wonderful, just trailblazer in business. You're just absolutely a trailblazer. And now you're still doing the ultimate 3D printing. So if anybody needs any printing done, he's got the store and the services right here in the Tampa Bay area. But he does a tremendous amount of work online. You can connect with him online. But he's also branching out into helping other CEOs become as successful as he is and helping them with their sales growth. He's an expert in that. And also, he's a wonderful speaker. So if you ever need a keynote speaker, you know where to go to, because Roy is really, truly that. But before we start talking a little bit more, again, I want to make sure you guys know how to get a hold of him at roykirchner.com. That's ROYKIRCHNER.com. So let's get back to talking about AI, because I think everybody, that's a hot ticket right now, business and AI. A lot of people are afraid of it. So what are your views, Roy?
Well, my view last year was right? People were talking about AI. It was buzzing, and it still is now, but I'm just saying it was really, it was all over the place. So I went to hear a guy speak probably about the middle of last year about AI. And some of the things that he was speaking on stage about, I understood, and some of them I didn't understand. So afterwards, he says, "Does anybody have any questions?" And then the question Q&A kind of ended. And he's like, "If you still have more questions, just come up." So I went up to him and I said, "Listen, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I own different businesses, right?" And I said to him, I said, "How's it going to affect my life? How is it going to affect my businesses? How's it going to affect my industries, the industries I'm in? How's it going to affect, right? What do I need to know? How do I need to know it? And just so you know, I'm not going to let you leave until you kind of give me this information, even if I got to duct tape you a chair and suck it out of your brain, right?" Because it was just, I was at this place where I was scared, right? I was scared. I own businesses, and what do I need to know about AI, right? And so he sat down with me, started giving me resources. And the thing that you have to understand about a serial entrepreneur, crazy serial entrepreneur, a dynamic speaker, a business coach, is I want to know things. I dive into something, but I dive into the point where I want to become what is called an SME, a subject matter expert. So I started researching AI the middle of last year. Now, this was 2024. And the way I did that is I get up at 4:30 in the morning, and from 4:30 to 6:30, 2 hours a day, every single day, I started studying AI, right? And I kept on taking pieces and pieces, and I kept on reading, listening to audibles, watching YouTube videos, reaching out, emailing top experts on LinkedIn, different things like that. And every time I had a question, I ended up getting the answer, right? You figure out these answers and you understand how to maneuver within AI to see how it's going to start working to change our lives, right? And the biggest thing that you have to realize, we're in a time, if you're a business owner, and I mean any business owner, it's great to work in your business, but you gotta lift your head up and work on your business, and you need to start understanding AI, right?
Mhm.
Because it is, don't be scared of it, but understand that it could be a lawnmower and it can cut you apart if you don't start getting to understand it now, right? As a business owner. So this is something that you cannot in any way, shape, or form just say, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect my life. It is going to, and it absolutely 1,000,000% is going to be the new world, right? So you got to get into that, and you gotta take measurements. You don't need to become an SME, a subject matter expert, unless you want to. But I go to the distance because it's something that I really know that is going to change our world, right? And
Mhm.
I need, as to be a successful person in my life, I want to be that person, right? And I want to understand it. So a lot of it is, like you said, breaking down AI and start understanding different levels of AI. And when you find people that know more than you, it
Mhm.
start asking them questions and things of that nature. Um, we're seeing, I just went to like a Microsoft and a BlackRock AI conference. We're
Mhm.
seeing, right, that there's not a lot of companies that are embracing or even talking about AI, or even talking about it with their team, their employees, right? We're actually seeing a huge gap, like a 75% gap is what Microsoft said. Like 75% of companies out there, they're not even asking, like, is one of my employees during the day, are they actually using some type of AI, right? So
Mhm.
it's crazy. So one, you've got to start bringing the topic up with your team, right? And then
Mhm.
two, you've got to start embedding it somehow within your organization, hiring a consultant that can start implementing these practices in, so that you know it. Because another thing that they said is you're going to become, it's so interesting that we're at the cuffs of the beginning. So if you think about how many people search on Google a day, right? It's like 2.2
Mhm.
billion people search on Google a day. But
Right.
then when you go to like an AI engine, right? There's like a million point two people that are on an AI engine, like putting in prompts a day. So those 1.2, they're going to double their income in the next couple of years because they're
Mhm.
going to understand it, while the other side is going to fall. So we need to navigate that 2.2 billion. We need to get them over to understanding how to implement AI into their daily lives, right?
Mhm.
And then into their businesses,
Mhm.
right? And start embracing it to help you grow and things of that nature. So, and the biggest thing, right? The number one thing that people consume in this world, and I'm talking the entire world, is 100% video. Right? Video is everything. People
Mhm.
don't read anymore, they watch it, right? The number
Absolutely.
one, everything is video. That's how TikTok grew, Instagram,
Mhm.
um, LinkedIn, podcasting, everything is consumed by video. So embedding AI and video into an organization in a certain way, that a process in which I've built, we're seeing that you're capable of, if you integrate it properly, you're capable of 10xing your company very quickly because you're using the technology of tomorrow today. So one day it will be standard, right? But if you use the technology that everybody's going to be using tomorrow or next year, but you're using it this year and nobody else is using it, you're going to get ahead of them. So that's the key that I bring to the table is I have a conversation with a company, and I explain to them how we start embedding AI in video to literally 10x their business. And it
Yeah.
makes
I totally agree
100%.
with that, Roy. I really agree
Yep.
with that because, when we started, on the internet, right, a lot of people didn't go on the internet. So you were getting like regular television, like as an example is ABC, CBS, all of them, this regular television. But when COVID hit, guess what? They all started running to the internet and getting all their shows. Now you see their shows are, they have the regular cable, whatever, but they also have them on an internet. So they also place them up on internet because they see the value of internet, right? Because it took COVID to make them realize, oh my gosh, we've got to be able to capture this new thing called internet, right? Which was been around for a long time. So you're so right when it comes to AI. It's the same thing. Like when we were already strong on internet, and then we started, we got opened up our Roku app, right? 6 million the first year because nobody was there, nobody was doing it, nobody was going there. And so you're so right with the video and all of that. You most certainly have to start embracing AI. And the other thing is, why not? That's what I can't figure out is why not? People are saying, well, if we were going to lose jobs or whatever. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be. What they're going to do is they're going to do their job smarter and with some help, maybe a little bit faster and more efficient. So yeah. So share with us what you think and we probably don't have too much more time left, but like some of the tasks and things that AI would be helpful in a business.
Um, AI is extremely helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
With creating videos to send to people, right? That
Mm-hmm.
are either your prospects in sales, right? Explaining your product or service in a very unique way, but then with the AI engine being able to track and see when they're watching that video, how long they're watching it for,
Mm-hmm.
being able to see putting lead engines on there that says like, do you want more information? Are you ready to move to the next level, like a funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know one of the things that I didn't study but I realized, right, is if I send somebody, and this is a true study that I can find the resources to give it exactly to you if you reach out to me, but if I send you a PDF email with a PDF, right, your brain retains 5% of that PDF, right? It just like a PDF quote, right? So you're getting a new air conditioning, and you get a PDF quote. And that PDF quote says, you go down, it says at the bottom, 16 grand. You're going to open it, you're going to look at it, it's going to say 16 grand, right? And then you're going to close that PDF. But if I was the guy that was giving you an air conditioning for 16 grand, I'm going to make a video proposal and I'm going to walk you through the proposal, the PDF on screen, line by line. And I'm also going to explain why to do business with me. Why? What makes me different than any other air conditioning company, right? I've been family owned and operated. We do this, we do that, but I'm also building credibility and I'm sending it to you as a video. Your brain retains 95%.
Wow.
95%.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that's going to be? How that's just a little bit of some of the stuff that I use with AI, right? Is if I'm sending you a video quote instead of a PDF quote and you retain, I'm separating myself from all your competitors out there because I'm walking you through mine and I'm building credibility tremendously. And then you're able to see, did they watch it? How long they watch it? You can even see if they forward it to their spouse. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
these are things, these are trackabilities, and using video and AI in this way is a gigantic difference. But you gotta embed it as a process within your organization. So that's just one thing. And most
Right.
people think when they think AI, you're thinking like go to like chat, right? And put in a prompt and get information. No, I'm using it in a different way of video, changing and never sending a quote and never sending a PDF or a PowerPoint to anyone. I'm sending a video that I built instead. And then I'm using 100% full trackability of that. And you're retaining way more to that person that's on the other end. Their brain is retaining it, and you're building so much more credibility. So
Right.
it's amazing that way. So that's just like one, because we don't have a lot of time, but that's just one thing. And people consume video. We know that. So it's getting to the point when you're building a video proposal, right? It's getting to the point, not dragging it out, but getting to the point pretty quickly, because people have a short attention span. But if you say the right things and you explain it properly, you're going to beat any normal PDF quote, no matter what.
Right, right. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's great. I mean, I know that even like our station, when they start watching the shows, they stay on an average of 4 hours. They go from one show to the next show to the next, to be able to watch. So that people like to binge watch. They like to do that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, just real quickly, and we can do a couple minutes on it, but you're building out a wonderful studio, which I was so awed over. And so tell us a little bit about your studio and what your plans are for that. So if anybody is interested in maybe coming, down to your place and doing some filming.
Yeah, so I'm in the Tampa Bay area, and I started building content for my personal brand, right? And when I was doing that, I was like, I'm in my business here, so what's better? Like I to go somewhere. I didn't want to have to go somewhere every single day to create content. I wanted to do it here. So I literally built a gorgeous video production studio and podcast studio, and I have it here. And since I put so much time, effort, and dedication into building it, I felt like, wow, I need to also get it ready to since I'm not in there all the time every day, I can actually be rented out, and it's going to be one of the top studios here in the Tampa Bay area where people could come in, they could do interviews, they could do podcasts, they could make videos, all these different types of things. But it's got high-end Black Magic design cameras. It's got lighting. It's got the ability to go live. It's got teleprompters. I mean, it's fully loaded. So I'm in the process of building out the website, but it's going to be called Elite Podcast Studios. So elitepodcaststudios.com. And I should have it up definitely within the next 30 days. And this is where, like I said, you could come in, you could utilize the studio. We have multiple cameras in there, so multiple angles. I mean, it all depends on the setup that you want, but we're going to be able to offer all of that. You could have a hands-on solution, or if you know what you're doing, you could use it that way. And we have either way where we could edit it and produce it, or we could just film it we could just record it. So we're going to have that. So soundproofing is, of course, as well.
Well, that's where you and John and Spencer and DJ actually do your podcast too.
Yeah, we do some. Yeah, we've done some. Well, that's our LinkedIn Live. So I do a LinkedIn Live. It's called Secret to Success in 2025, and I do that every Friday on LinkedIn. It's live at noon Eastern Standard Time. So I do that every single Friday, noon. And it's just all different topics, but it's being successful. And this is not just for businesses. This is for anybody. We just give secrets to literally being successful in business and in life in 2025. So I love that. And I do it consistently every Friday at noon.
Yeah, it sounds great. Well, I wish we had more time to talk, because there's so much I know you're doing, and it's just lovely to have you. And we'll have to go down and definitely maybe we'll do something in your studio and film and stuff. That would be kind of cool to show the audience, what they can do there, because I think it's really kind of neat. It is great to connect online. I mean, let's face it, we love that, being able comfortable to do it, but it is also very cool to do a very live production with everybody around and all that energy in one room. It's thrilling. I've done it before, and it is just absolutely thrilling to do that. So kudos to you for stepping forward and doing something like that, and embracing everything that's out there. It's absolutely wonderful. Well, we love you, and we want to thank you so much for being with us here today. There's so much that we could talk about, but again, if you guys are interested in having like a keynote speaker, or really looking at a coach to help your sales growth, he is definitely an expert in this field. So you want to reach out to Roy, and his business again is 3D. It's the ultimate 3D store and ultimate 3D printing store and services. And make sure that you reach him. He's like right here in the Tampa Bay area if you're interested. And if you have any questions about anything, he'll answer anything that you have. Just send him an email and let him know what you're interested in. If you have any questions, he's always happy to help you. But you just want to send it to Roy, ROY, at Roy Kirchner, and that's ROYKIRCHNER.com. So, and his website, check it out. It's roykirchner.com. That's ROYKIRCHNER.com. So make sure you reach out to him, check out his website. I mean, this is the man to watch, because you are growing and just moving forward, and you've got those roller skates on, man. So we're going to have to keep up with you. That's for sure. But I love you, and thank you so much for spending the time with us here this morning. We do appreciate it.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. We hope you learned something. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, if you want to reach Joanne, just go to info@linktoexpert.com. That's info@linktoexpert.com. You can reach me at goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. That's goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. You're listening to the new streaming network. We want to thank you so much for listening to us here today on the Link to Expert Business Showcase. We are so pleased to have you here with us, and make sure you check back with us and join the next show we have, because we love to be with you. So this is the Link to Expert Business Showcase. I have my good friend Joanne Weiland with me. I am Cece Shatz, and we'll catch you next time. Bye for now, everyone.